This video is brought to you by my generous backers over on Patreon. If you'd like to support the channel and get cool perks like access to the Discord, seeing the videos a week before anyone else, or exclusive Patreon only gameplays, then feel free to check out my Patreon. The link's in the description below. Purphoros Bronze Blooded versus Jodah Archmage Eternal. We certainly can't keep that one, so let's get rid and see if we can get into a land. Voltaic Key, we've got Arcane Signet. It's not great. That Coercive Portal might be of some use to us though. Let's get rid of the Mimic Vat, just in case we need to use Scrap Mastery to get our stuff back. Then we go in for the Voltaic Key first of all. Most likely into Arcane Signet next turn. And then if we get into a land between all that, we can go Coercive Portal. Alright, a Blightsteel Colossus. So if we can get into our commander fairly quickly, we ought to be able to... let's just say God. Yeah, we ought to be able to get a Blightsteel win off. Alright, and there's the land we needed. So, fingers crossed we don't see a counter here. That came down really quickly, so I'm assuming there are no counters. If we get into a land here, then Cavern of Souls will make it so that our Purphoros can't be countered. And then unless they can counter an ability, we go Blightsteel next turn. Draw 2 cards off the portal. And alright, Ancient Tomb, that'll do. So we kept a pretty sketchy one there, but it's looking as though we're going to get away with it. And that's good. Our opponent, well, they might still go in for a creature. We're just hoping that they don't get into a creature with a lot of toughness, because if they do, they're not going to get the full impact of the Blightsteel. But they're bringing in tap lands by the looks of it, so I think we're going to get away with it this time. Again, draw some cards with the portal. Play a land, we'll go in for the Warm Power Stone. And then we can untap the Warm Power Stone. And go in for Purphoros, throw out the Blightsteel, and swing in for what I assume is the victory. And our opponent scooping before it hits, but that is 11 points of infect damage, and that gets sacrificed at the end of the turn, but thanks to Purphoros' haste enable, it can come down and swing in for lethal immediately. Managing to make the best of a bad situation there, but it was a quick game nonetheless, so let's get on with another one. Alright, started up another game and my opponent decided to join us for another one. Getting rid of World Gorger doesn't feel good, but we don't have... Yeah, we've got a lot of expensive stuff there. Let's get rid of that one. That is a lot better, and World Gorger stays exactly where it was. I think the Skull Clamp did as well. Let's keep that. And we will get rid of... what do we get rid of there? Let's get rid of the Meteor Golem and hope that we don't regret it. I will shuffle that Meteor Golem around with the Arid Mesa and maybe we'll draw back into it again. Then we'll go for the Skull Clamp and we can go Mere Retriever, getting clamped, and that'll draw us 2 cards and then it's in the bin ready for a Junk Diver or whatever Junk Diver type effects we've got in this deck, I can't remember. Alright, a Chaos Warp, so we're online for our Mere Retriever. Again, coming down really quickly, so I dare say there's no counters to be had. It is a Mystical Tutor. Well, we'll see what they go for here. See if they do have counters. Just ramping. So this might play a little bit like a Maelstrom Wanderer deck. You just want to ramp like crazy in the early game. Get up to that Wooburg as soon as you can. Speaking of which, there is that Junk Diver, so let's just go for the Clamp onto Mere Retriever. And with these two, we can just keep clamping the Junk Diver and the Mere Retriever, and they'll keep bringing each other back out of the bin. Already made the land, unfortunately. Should have waited and gone in for the Valakut this turn. Oh well. Hopefully that won't hurt us. A Sahili from our opponent. A Shalai from our opponent, Voice of Plenty. I don't think we're too worried about that unless we want to push damage through it. So let's go in for another Skull Clamp on the Junk Diver. And we get Mere Retriever back into hand, and we've got extra Planar Lens as well now. So let's get rid of a Mountain, because we've got a Mountain to play next turn. I don't know what we want to do yet, to be honest. Maybe extra Planar Lens and a Valakut next turn. They go in for their Jodah. We can Chaos Warp that if we're worried. They haven't made a land again though. Alright, Crucible's good as well. Let's just go extra Planar Lens here. And then we've got 4 mana. We could go Mere Retriever again. Yeah, you know what? Let's go for a Mountain here. And we'll go for that Mere Retriever again. Drawing a lot of cards off of Skull Clamp here. And we get into Gauntlet of Might as another mana doubler. Nothing else to do, so we will pass. Get rid of a Mountain again. We've got Crucible, so not worried about making lands this game. Now, can they make 5 colours? Doesn't seem as though they can. They will be able to next turn, though, with that Felwar Stone. And decided not to swing in, that's curious. Maybe they're worried about the haste next turn. We have just beaten them up with a Blightsteel after all. Manifold Key doesn't help us currently. Now might be the time to get down the Valakut. We'll go for our Commander anyway. And then we'll play the Valakut, and we will go in for the Crucible as well. And then we can carry on with Junk Diver and Mere Retriever to carry on drawing cards with the Skull Clamp, assuming that we keep all our mana and the clamp itself. So they've got the 5 mana they need now. Let's see what they want to play from their hand. Oh, they haven't gone for green, which is noteworthy. Oh, now they go for green, so they are playing something for Jodah's ability. And it is a Bribery, so does that have haste? They put it onto the battlefield, and it doesn't have haste. Yeah, that's alright. So, Chaos Warp, the way that's worded is, the owner of a target permanent shuffles it into the library, then reveals the top card. Yeah, and they've taken Blightsteel away from us. So what would happen here is we shuffle Blightsteel back into... Oh, it has Hexproof thanks to Shalai. Well, that does change things then. So we need to... Yeah. We need to put this in the way of it. Let's go for a Mountain. And we can try and draw into an answer. Alright, a Sol Ring, we'll get that down. Then go for the Retriever again. And then that's all we can do here, isn't it? Oh, we can go for the Thought Vessel. And then we've still got... Yeah, we've still got the World Gorger Dragon coming in. Yeah, I haven't drawn into what we need, unfortunately. That's 2, 4. Yeah, we've got 4 there. We can go for the Manifold Key. Might as well get that out. And then we can go 1 mana into the Manifold Key to untap an artifact, untap the Sol Ring. And then we've got a floating mana for Clamp, and we've still got enough mana for the Sneak Attack. And okay, we're just not getting into what we need here, really. So, yeah, not to worry. We'll just pass it over and see what they can do. It's funny, actually, they went for the 5 colours onto the Bribery, and it's just 5 mana to cast it. But anyway, doesn't matter. Just going in with the Blightsteel. We'll go for a Sneak Attack in response to that. Throw out the World Gorger. And that will exile all of our stuff, so let's go exile on Purphoros. And it means we go down a land, unfortunately, thanks to extra Planar Lens, but I think it's worth doing to stay in the game. So we obviously block there and get all of our stuff back. And we're probably only going to be able to take one more hit from the Blightsteel. We'll exile a mountain. And then they're going for something else with Jodah. Let's see, that is Aminatu's Augury. Exile the top 8 cards. You may put a land from among them into play until end of turn for each non-land type. You may cast a card of that type from among the exiled cards without paying the mana cost. Okay. They've got Kiki Jiki. Oh, enter the infinite. Draw cards equal to the number of cards in your library. So they draw 79. And they've got one card left. They've got a Sol Ring, a Vamp Tutor. Vamp Tutor's not of much use to them. Kiki Jiki might be, though. This isn't legendary. Yeah, if it wasn't for the fact that Shalai was in play, we could have gone for Chaos Warp onto our own Blightsteel. It would have shuffled it back into our library, and then we would have gotten out a permanent for it as well. But unfortunately, Shalai is doing us in here. So let's see if they can win this turn. Alright, noteworthy, they've just gone for a Bloom Tender from some rocks, and then making a copy of the Bloom Tender with the Kiki Jiki, which can tap for Wooburg, which can activate Jodah to give them a couple of extra turns in a row. So all they have to do here is swing in with the Blightsteel, and they win. So that's a very interesting game, I think. And yeah, whenever you're playing against Jodah, all you really have to do is keep Jodah out of play, which isn't usually an issue, but this isn't a particularly interactive deck. We just want to draw a bunch of cards and get into combo. But obviously our opponent has outdrawn us here. So we'll give them the opportunity to swing in. Yeah, they make a copy of the Blightsteel just to be sure. And then, they've got a Blightsteel of their own, so they cast that from their hand. And that will not have haste though, so not really much point in doing that. Okay, they're going for more stuff. I just want to, yeah, let's, there we go. They've got Urabrask for haste. So let's show them that we have got Diddly Squat. Drew a whole bunch of cards this game, but didn't really get into much of anything. Yeah, we'll draw some cards after the game and see if we were close to anything. But this was a really interesting one. Well played by our opponent. And we were on Mana Crypt for more ramp. Drakuseth probably would have helped us, to be honest. And I've been kicked out into the lobby. Yeah, Drakuseth getting rid of Shalai. And then we can go Chaos Warp onto that Blightsteel. And we might have been able to get somewhere then. But our opponent drawing their entire library and then being able to just cheat things out with Jodah is probably what would have beaten us in the end. So it's a good game to our opponent. Hopefully you all enjoyed it as well. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.